In this video, we're going to be taking a look at all of these Star Wars The Vintage Collection Darth Vader figures and card backs. Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be taking a look at all of the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Darth Vader figures and card backs, or at least all of the ones that I have in my collection. I've done a video previously like this for the Boba Fett variants, so I thought it'd be a good idea to do it for Darth Vader, as he's a bit of a hot topic at the moment. And of course, because we've just had a brand new Darth Vader announced, which I'm sure most people are going to be able to get their hands on pretty soon. I'm very, very lucky to have it right here. It's an extraordinary figure, the best Darth Vader so far. So I thought it'd be good to go through all of my Darth Vaders that I have on vintage style card backs, all the way from the original trilogy collection all the way up to this most recent Vader that we have in the vintage collection, and all of the variants that I have in between. So if you happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below, because that really helps the video and the channel. And with all that being said, let's get straight on to the first figure. Alright then, so first up in my collection we have the Darth Vader from the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection, or VOTC for short. Here he is. It's got to be said, it's not a great Vader, the actual figure, but there he is, and it's the classic card back, but on an Empire Strikes Back chase. You can see the back of the card there. We have the original trilogy collection there, and an image of the original 1980s Vader with the Empire Strikes Back logo there as well. You can see some of the other figures that were included in that original trilogy collection. So that's the first one. Now in the UK, we actually got a different version of that figure, and this one was a Woolworths exclusive, and he's still in his clamshell right here, so you can see there, free and exclusive at Woolworths. And if you look at the back, it is ever so slightly different, so you still get that image of the original figure from the 80s and a little bit of text about Darth Vader, but you can see that the bottom of the card is completely different. You don't get all the other figures advertised in the line. So these were released in 2004 with the original trilogy collection, or the VOTC. So yeah, let's move on to the vintage collection proper. So next up we have the first release of VC08 Darth Vader with the free Boba Fett sticker there. Now this one I believe is dated 2010, and there you can see the back of the card. Very similar to the VOTC version, especially from the top up. But you can see VC08, so it is actually part of the vintage collection. And that's, as I say, was the first release in 2010 on the Empire Strikes Back logo. Now, there's going to be multiples of these ones, lots of variants of these. First up, we have the foil chase variant, which is really, really shiny. Hard to show in the camera there, but once again, it does have the free Boba Fett offer. Now, these all came punched, so it's impossible to get these unpunched. And there he is, exactly the same figure. And once again, 2010. The back looks pretty similar as well, but it was the foil chase variant. So there are your two Empire Strikes Back versions. Now there is another Empire Strikes Back carded variant of Darth Vader, and this is VC08 once again. It's the re-release. Now if memory serves me correctly, I think this came out at the end of 2018, possibly the beginning of 2019. I can't really remember, but you can see there that it's got a smaller text font in the name pill there, but apart from that, the card is very, very similar to the original release, except for that it's on the super bendy card, and it's got the new backs. So you can see still retains the number VC08 with the Vintage Collection logo, and there were some of the other figures that were around at the time. Disney and Hasbro at the bottom. So that was the re-release. And now we have two more VC08s. We have the Return of the Jedi carded version and also the Revenge variant, and this one actually came straight out of the SDCC Death Star set. So this particular version is, I guess, pretty rare. You can see there VC08 once again, Return of the Jedi, Vader on the back, and obviously it's got Revenge of the Jedi in the logo there. And then this one is the return card, unpunched, and it has the prototype Fett armor offer on the front. Again, same figure and everything. Card back looks very similar on the back. Quite hard to tell the difference. I'm sure there are some differences, but as I say, this one's straight out of that SDCC set. Now, I did used to have the retail version of this one, I think it had an offer sticker on it as well, but I don't have that anymore. So that's one variant that I have lost out of my collection. I think once I got hold of the SDCC set, I moved on all my other Revenge cards that I had. But still, you know, plenty of VC08s to go around. I seem to have quite a few of them. I'm sure there's people out there that have got more of them than I have, but yeah, these are the ones that I have in my collection. Now, I've included VC13 Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader in this because essentially at this point he is Darth Vader, just hasn't got the armour, hasn't had his legs chopped off and what have you. But Anakin at this point has changed to Darth Vader. So I thought I'd include it, although he isn't in the armour. So it sort of counts and it sort of doesn't. But VC13, and you can get this card back as well with Anakin Skywalker in the name pill, which is a bit rarer than the Darth Vader. That's like the running change that they made. So that's the Revenge of the Sith card, Darth Vader. Next up, we have the Darth Vader on the Star Wars chase. Now, I believe this one is VC93. Let me just take a look. Yep, VC93. So this is the only time that we've had a Darth Vader figure based on his appearance in A New Hope and on that Star Wars card in the Vintage Collection. All the other ones have been based on, like, essentially the Empire Strikes Back figure, repacked various times. But once again, it does use the same card back image as the others, the classic card back of Darth Vader, but, you know, different figure inside. Darth Vader in the name pill, VC93. The backs of these cards are definitely my favourite. You know, loads of colour going on and some vehicles as well. Nice to have that one unpunched as well. That's VC93. Moving on to my favourite card back of Darth Vader. This is the Return of the Jedi version, VC115. This was the last figure in the line before the Vintage Collection went away for a little while. And it's a bit of a niche figure, essentially. It's very scene specific, but the card back is just glorious. And I'm actually quite lucky to have the original 1983 version of this card back as well. It's an awesome looking card back. He's just looks great there, doesn't he, Darth Vader? Really, really good. As I say, that the figure itself is a little bit niche. You can see that he's got that like electricity effect going around him, and the helmet is slightly see-through to show that he's, you know, currently being electrocuted. But as I say, scene specific, but great card back nonetheless, and one of my favourites in the whole line. And next up we have Darth Vader from Rogue One. This guy is VC 178 in the line. This figure is actually becoming quite expensive on the secondary market. I'm not too sure if they made too many of these. It's quite surprising really, because obviously whenever they do a Vader, you'd expect them to produce like loads of them, because they're just going to sell through every single time. We've compared the Vader against the new one. There's a lot of use of hard plastic goods on this rather than soft goods, which you know, isn't great for me, but it's still a pretty good Vader. He looks decent enough, and the card back isn't too bad either. You can see there with the Rogue One logo and an image of Vader there with his fist and some explosions going off in the background. Pretty decent image. And there's some of the figures that are around at the time. VC 178. And then finally we have Darth Vader from the Obi-Kenobi series, VC 241, Darth Vader The Dark Times. And this is the definitive Vader. An amazing figure. If you haven't seen my review of this figure, check it out on the channel. It is a phenomenal figure, unbelievable Vader, and I highly recommend everybody picking up this figure. Even if you're just a carded collector, I would get an extra one of these to open, because it's just like having a mini Vader on your shelf. You know, even if you don't show loose figures, you've still got to have one of these on your shelf. Look at that Vader. It is just unbelievable. So good. And yeah, the best one yet by far. Back of the card, VC 241 with some of the other figures from the wave and everything, and Vintage Collection logo as usual. New card stock, thicker card stock, and you know, the image of Vader on there is okay. There's better Vader card backs for sure, but all in all, what an exceptional figure this one is. And as I say, I highly recommend it to everybody that is a fan of the 3 3/4 inch scale of figures. So there you go then, guys. That is my personal collection of Vintage Collection or vintage carded Darth Vaders. So there's some from the VOTC and the rest from the Vintage Collection itself. And as you can see, over the years, we've had some pretty good Vaders, and they just seem to be getting better every time. And I'm sure it's not the last time we'll see a Darth Vader either. I'm sure there'll be another one on the horizon at some point. And I really don't mind, because it's Darth Vader. So there you go then, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like down below. And if you are a Patreon supporter or channel member, I want to thank you so much for your support as always. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.